I think Litecoin is going to outperform Bitcoin, making more money even faster than Bitcoin will in the next bull market. I know this is a big claim, but I have some evidence to back it up. Now, before we get started, I have to let you know this is not financial advice. I'm not licensed to give financial advice or anything like that. I'm just a YouTuber. Always do your own research before making trades, especially with something as big as this. Now, before we get into it, I have to tell you what Litecoin actually is. It is a fork from Bitcoin. Back in 2015, Bitcoin split, and Litecoin was created with the intention of offering decreased block generation time, increased maximum number of coins, different hashing algorithms, and faster difficulty retarget, and slightly modified GUI. Since then, it's solidly held its spot as one of the top cryptocurrencies in the space. However, I think it's honestly kind of slept on. Not a lot of people talk about Litecoin, and honestly, if a cryptocurrency is not being talked about while it's a big coin, that's probably a good thing. It typically means there's not a lot of bad news about it, and honestly, it just seems like Litecoin works. It just does what it does, and it does it well. Now, because it is an offshoot of Bitcoin, it is still subject to halving cycles. Essentially, what this means is every 4-ish years, it's not exactly 4 years, it's actually up to how many blocks have been mined, but it does work out to about every 4 years. The rewards for mining a Litecoin block is split in two. When you first started out, you would get 50 Litecoin for mining a block. After the first halving, it was 25, then it was 12, and this next one right here is going to be 6.25 Litecoin per block mined. Now, we are coming up really closely to the third halving event for Litecoin, and I wanted to talk to you about what happened after every single previous Litecoin halving event. Similarly to Bitcoin, leading up to a halving event, we saw huge moves, but after the halving event, we saw gigantic, ridiculous, enormous moves. It happened right here, big move, gigantic move, and it's already happening, big moves up, followed by what is likely going to be yet another gigantic move. On the first halving event, from the very bottom of that bear market to the the closing of this candle right here, was a 523% increase in 133 days, but it gets way crazier than this. From the bottom of the last bear market, the first bear market that Litecoin went through, to the top, this was an 84,000% increase over 980 days. So this took about 3 years to happen. Moving on to the next one over here. The second halving from the bottom to candle close on the halving event was a 300% increase. However, if we go from the bottom to the top of its bull market, boom, this was a 1,778% increase in 882 days. Absolutely astonishing. Now, before we get into the next one, I want to just go over a possible scenario with Bitcoin for its next halving cycle. It's also already started by moving up. As Bitcoin goes into its halving cycles, it does something similar with anticipation, moving up and up and up until we pass the halving cycle and we see parabolic moves up. This is pretty typical for Bitcoin. It happens every time, at least it has so far. Previous predictions that I've seen is $100,000 Bitcoin for this next halving cycle, and this next bull market. And honestly, I think that could be pretty accurate. From the bottom of this bear market, let's go from the bottom of that and move up to $100,000. This is a 544% move. Now, this is incredible. Bitcoin is consistently one of the biggest growing asset classes, consistently outcompeting the stock market, gold, commodities, anything like that. However, if we go over to Litecoin, even if we meet the structure resistance that we hit on both of the previous bull markets, from the bottom of this bear market all the way to the top is actually 797%, nearly 800%, which is so much larger than 544%. That is absolutely incredible. On top of this, because the halving events on Litecoin happened several months before the ones on Bitcoin, it is very likely that we're going to start the extreme parabolic moves up, and we're going to end its bull market even sooner than Bitcoin. So with this information, it tells me that Litecoin could earn more money, significantly more money, in fact, much faster than Bitcoin could in the next bull market. Now, this honestly feels consistent. Litecoin right here, this was the FTX collapse. Boom, FTX collapse happened. It recovered within 2 weeks. We're on the weekly time frame. So these two candles, it was fully recovered. However, if we go over to Bitcoin, after this drop, it took 10 weeks in order to fully recover. And honestly, Litecoin was pretty much the only coin to do that. It was the only coin that recovered that quickly after the massive collapse of FTX. So Litecoin really does seem to have a consistent pattern of moving faster and farther than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the big brother. It's the most well-known coin on the market. It is going to perform well, and I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin, and I'm absolutely not saying you should invest in one over the other. I think Litecoin actually could carry more risk due to its volatility. And of course, the proof will be in the pudding. We'll find out in the next couple of years which asset really does outperform which. But as an altcoin, Litecoin tends to have more volatility, and because of that, it could move faster and farther than Bitcoin. Just out of curiosity, I want to do a quick experiment. So 797%, we can just call it an even 800. Let's see what price Bitcoin would need to make in order to reach that amount. So let's find the edge right here. So if we go up to 700, 800 right there, 797%. Boom. Bitcoin would need to reach a value of $139,864 in order to compete with Litecoin. And this is just a previous all-time high for Bitcoin. Or I'm sorry, Litecoin. This is not taking into account that Litecoin could actually surpass its previous all-time highs. This is just using the previous two tops, which were basically the same level as structural resistance. While looking at Litecoin on the monthly time frame here, we can see that price versus well money flow is extremely low. Trend exhaustion bottomed out and has began moving up, actually nearing its top. However, price versus well money flow is the main one I'm going to be paying attention to as an indicator for Litecoin. Because it's very near its bottom, it has tons and tons and tons of room for whale money to continue flowing in. And where whale money goes right here, the price is sure to follow. And whales have already caught on about this pattern with the halving cycles. This is why Litecoin is one of the very first coins to pump like it has. It has been one of the most volatile coins in the market. And after the FOMC meeting earlier this week, Litecoin was actually the only coin to continue moving up. So personally, I think Litecoin is going to be a very favorable pick going into the next halving cycle, going into 2024 and beyond. Now, I know this has been kind of an unusual video. Today, Josh actually sent us stuff about Litecoin, and it's just what inspired me to do this video. I think it's really interesting. It got me really excited. And I know it's unusual, but I really want to share it with all of our viewers on YouTube. No matter what, I'm just going to be watching the price versus well money flow, and as it continues moving up, as soon as it hits the top of its chart, that's when I would have expected Litecoin to reach its top as well. And from there, we could look at exiting the market. With that, if you want to get access to the indicators you saw me use in this video, you can find them at the links in the description below. Go ahead and scroll down, click show more, and it'll be the second link right here. Go ahead and click that. That'll bring you to our indicator page. In order to get the best possible deal, you're going to want to snag the bundle pack first. And this bundle pack includes the trend exhaustion, price versus well money flow, and 7 other indicators for you to use. These are incredible indicators. And on top of that, the bundle pack will include a $400 off coupon for the TEC top and bottom finder. This makes purchasing all 11 of Trade Confidence indicators cheaper than buying just the TEC top and bottom finder alone. No matter what you get, it's lifetime access for a one-time payment, and you get full dedicated email support. So if you ever have any questions, please feel free to email us at btradeconfident@gmail.com. With that, thanks so much for watching. Trade safe, trade confident. I will see you in the next video.